Hey, it's Ben Wise with ZOAR Fitness, and this is the name game. All right, so we're at week number 2. So this week's workout is called ladder golf. Ladder golf is an interval style piece where it's every 3 minutes for up to 6 total sets. So the first section here, it's every 3 minutes for 3 sets of this. It'll be a 20 calorie row, 16 for females, a 16 alternating dumbbell snatches, 35 for males, 50 for males, 35 for females, 12 chest to bar pull-ups. We got chest to bar for the second week in a row. If you make it through all of those, you'll move on to the second part, directly into the second part, which is again every 3 minutes times 3 sets of that. Once again, that 20 16 calorie row, once again the 16 alternating dumbbell snatches, and then 12 bar muscle ups now. So again, that's all continuous. So it's up to 18 minutes of work total if you made it through them all. If you make it to that final set, so set number 6, if you start that set because you made it through all of them, that final set of 6, or that 6th set, is for time. All right, so you're then potentially, if you made it through the entire workout, you will have a time as your final score, and it's based on starting at 0:00 when that last one starts. So if it took you 2 minutes and 30 seconds for your last one, your score would be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. For everyone else, which is going to be 99% of people who do this workout, it is going to be your total number of reps that you made it through. So that being said, you may not work ahead in this workout. So it is an interval piece, but you cannot continue to go through. So once you've gotten through your 20 calorie row, your 16 dumbbell snatches, and your 12 chest to bar in that first set, say you're at 2.5 minutes, you have to rest and wait for 3 minutes to show up on the clock, and then you can begin work again. And again, like I said, if you fail in any window, that's when you're gonna get you're done with the workout, but you get the total number of reps that you got through, and that's your score. All right. So again, thinking about just the movements as a whole, if you're someone who's a competitor and like you plan on competing in the open, you plan on doing online qualifiers and trying to get to as high level as you can in the sport, I would do the workout as it is written and not modify it. And that kind of goes across the board for these protocols, like with the name game. If you're someone who's more so general fitness and you're doing this just to be functional and the best athlete that you can, I would say feel free to modify this as you find appropriate. Just make sure that when you record your scores, if you're doing it in the forum, to make sure that you're actually saying the fact of like how you modified it. That way your results are getting mixed in with everybody else. So that being said, I already went kind of over the workout flow. Let's think about equipment setup. So we got, again, your rower, the dumbbell, and your pull-up bar. Basically, I would just put that in a nice little kind of triangle, all relatively close to your pull-up bar. So set the rower fairly close, not directly behind, kind of off to the side. Once again, I'd probably put your dumbbell kind of in the third end of that triangle. That way you can kind of keep moving right through. You will likely get to the point where you finish one round barely in the time cap and you have to go directly into that next round, basically. Like maybe you finish at 2:55 and you have 5 seconds of rest before you go into the next piece. So these transitions in the middle are really important because you do have a lot of work. Whereas last week in workout number 1, it was basically like you're resting probably 2/3 of the workout. This, you're going to be working the majority of the workout, and really your short breaks are probably going to be like if and when you choose to break up your gymnastics. So thinking about movement standards before we actually get into strategy. For rowing, obviously it's calories. Just the thing here is I want you to reset your rower every single round, and your butt cannot leave the seat of the rower until your screen shows 16 or 20 calories. Once it actually shows that, then you can move on. For the alternating dumbbell snatch, we're going to be using sort of a modified open standard where both heads of the dumbbell have to touch the ground. So if only one head touches, you can't do that. That's a no rep. Both heads of the dumbbell have to touch the ground. When you go up overhead, your arm has to be in line with your ear, like everything's got to be stacked to be considered locked out. And then you can alternate hands. Again, they have to be alternating the reps, but you can alternate them however you'd like. So it doesn't matter if it's in front of your face versus over your head versus on the ground. You can do whatever you want there. And then again, with the chest to bar or bar muscle up, the chest to bar is just full extension at the bottom, touch your chest at the top. The bar muscle up is again full extension at the bottom, getting up above in a single motion, and making sure that you're keeping your hands on the bar. You can't like release the bar once you're up there, which is again standard for the open. So thoughts on the workout. It's going to be super intense piece. Again, for some people, it's going to be more of that short sprint to make it under the first time cap or two, to buy yourself enough time because you're not super gymnastic proficient to be able to get through those workouts or to get through the initial intervals. For someone who's at a higher level, those first 3 sets are like a pretty aggressive buy-in, let's call it, for the second part of the workout, where it changes over to bar muscle ups. And that's really where a lot of people, it's going to be like, what pulling do you have left? Because that's the other thing with this, is that there's a lot of movement interference. So we have pulling and hinging in the row. We have pulling and hinging in the dumbbell snatch. We have pulling in the chest to bar. In the bar muscle up, again, we have pulling and pressing, and there's a pressing element in the dumbbell snatch as well. So there's just a lot of movement that's happening around the shoulder and with pulling in general. I would say your hinge probably isn't going to fatigue nearly as much. That'll just kind of jack up your breathing some. But for a lot of people, it's just going to be the pulling that gets them. Each time they go back to the row, their arms are going to be more and more tired, and their biceps are just carrying more and more tension. So one of the things you really want to think about is using your legs and your hips as much as possible to drive the row and the dumbbell snatch, so that you can unavoidably have to use your pulling ability in the gymnastics. That being said, you want to use as much efficiency, and it's probably as big of a kip as you're comfortable doing on the gymnastics, so that you do save your arms a bit and use more of your midline to get up there. So besides that, this is an interval style workout, and that structure has shown up in open workouts before. So like 14.2, which was also a repeat of, or 15.2, which is a repeat of 14.2. That was like that chest to bar overhead squat one, where it was 2 rounds of 10 and 10 in like a 3-minute window, and then it moved on, and then it was 12 and 12, and then it was 14 and 14, etc. Right? So this style of workout has shown up before, so it's kind of a unique piece, but it is certainly something that could be tested. And it's, again, anytime these sort of workouts come out, it really pushes people to the limit, because they're trying as hard as they can to make it under the time cap, and then they have to do another 3 minutes of work now. So it's definitely sort of a situation where it forces people to redline, except the very best athletes. So just kind of know that going into it and be prepared for that. The other thing you want to think about is balancing your working ahead to get a rest time. So in other words, like, I work really quickly so that I get done at maybe 2:15 and I have 45 seconds of rest, versus taking more time and having it end at maybe 2:50 and only getting 10 seconds of rest. So thinking about that, you have to be able to manage those two. And I'm not necessarily saying that there's a right or wrong way to do it, but it's probably not an extreme of one or the other. Like, you probably don't want to go right up against the 3 minutes, because what if you accidentally go over that and now you're at capped, even though you weren't at capacity? Or if you just go really hard and then you can't recover because you're doing way too dense of work, and that recovery that you built yourself isn't enough. So you have to find a blend of the two, where you can maximize your ability to recover in that relatively short duration that you're going to have when you get to the end of that window. I would probably just do an entire round of the workout during the rehearsal to be able to get a real good feel of how long those are going to take you. If you're someone who only has 10 chest to bar, maybe you don't do the entire thing, but you get an idea of, okay, that's how much time I'm going to have left to do my chest to bar once I get there. Or for someone else, it might be, once I get to the bar muscle up, this is probably going to how much time I'm going to have. Based on when I'm fatigued, I can row this fast and hold this cycle speed for the dumbbell snatches. So that kind of gives you a rough idea about how you can attack this workout. This really comes down to your gymnastics proficiency and also probably row pace, because it's a lot harder to manipulate your dumbbell cycle speed. So that being said, warm-ups, they're in the comments below. If you're someone who actually has access and you're actually following the full protocol, then you can just go to the page like we always do have for the programming. For people who aren't actually subscribed to that yet and part of Premium, feel free to go over to zoarfitness.com/premium to get a 7-day free trial of the protocol, where you can get a lot more in-depth training. So head over there now. Good luck, guys. Have fun with ladder golf.